Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Give a Damn podcast. I hope you all are doing well today. I hope you had a good day so far. Maybe you're on a walk or just hanging out at home or cleaning your apartment with some headphones in, but you are in for a treat today. I have another wonderful guest on the show, and before we dive in to the amazing Georgi Kay, I just want to thank you all for being such a supportive members of the Give a Damn community as we continue to grow, put out merch, and just expanding to these other platforms like YouTube and Twitter. You all have just been so amazing along the way. I want to say thank you for all the wonderful reviews and ratings on Apple Podcasts. So thank you for making this just fill my heart so much, and I hope it's filling yours as well. So yeah, let's just dive in. I'm excited. Today on the podcast, we have my friend, Grammy-nominated multi-ARIA and APRA award-winning singer-songwriter Georgi Kay. She is best known for her global EDM anthem, In My Mind, with Axwell from Swedish House Mafia. Aside from collaborating within the EDM realm, Georgi pulls elements from her favorite musical genres, ambient, pop, deep house, dark electronic, and combines them with her love of sci-fi thrillers and old school horror films to create a sonically visual soundscape. She is a multifaceted artist who performs solo and live loops her music, creating a one-of-a-kind experience that hypnotizes crowds on both a visual and sonic level. She has toured with Ed Sheeran, Tash Sultana, In Excess, Tokyo Hotel, and LP. Welcome to the Give a Damn podcast, Georgi.
Hi, how are you doing, Alana?
I'm good, my love. How are you doing?
I'm splendid. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you on because we've talked so much about the podcast together. You've been an incredibly supportive friend, so thank you. I'm excited that we finally made this happen, albeit from a distance.
Yes. Yeah, we can make it work.
Yes. So I want to just start by asking you, like, how are you doing during quarantine? What have you been up to?
I've been, honestly, the beginning was really quite seamless and not much of any feelings of change. Because I work from home basically every day in my home studio, working on music and various projects. So it wasn't a big shock for me. But also, I like to go out. I like to see friends and dance and just be a little bit social. So I started to miss that a few weeks in, and it's just been like life, just kind of balancing. Just balancing really, but it's more extreme because we still have so many restrictions and limits put in place. So it's just been kind of like standing on a seesaw,
Yeah.
Like one way dips down a bit too much, so I'm like, I gotta run to the other side and balance it out, balance the scales. But yeah, there are definitely times where I've been working on not guilting myself for not doing anything necessarily, like music-wise.
Yeah.
And practicing just being present in the moment and knowing, what I'm doing is actually work as well, like just relaxing, taking some time to just decompress and process everything. So yeah, it's been an interesting experience, and now it just kind of feels like it's honestly amazing how quickly we can assimilate and adapt, because now it just sort of feels like the norm. I don't remember what it was like before.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about it, like, you are the last person that I saw before the world shut down on your birthday, and then all of this happened, which feels like so long ago, but in some ways it, time has really gone by. And I've looked to you a lot for a lot of comfort, because when the world was shutting down and we were together, you were planning to release your single, which is now out, Gasoline, which if y'all haven't heard, it's on Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Music, basically anywhere that you stream music, which is incredible. So you worked really hard on that, but you also, really encouraged us to lean into not doing a ton and to really take this time to rest and reset. So I think that you've inspired me the most in that way. I mean, do you feel like you've really done that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. To the point where I'm like, oh, that balance comes, that factor of balance definitely comes back into play, where I'm like, oh, I probably should do a little bit, but then again, no one's asking me to.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to remember, like, no one is, if no one is asking you to do something, even as, you know, me being my own boss, I wear so many hats. I am my own boss, my own record label CEO, my own creative marketer, my manager, or co-manager at least. I'm basically, I'm my own graphic designer, my own producer right now, everything. So, yeah, I just have to balance it all out. But there are times where you just need to relax, and that is healthy. And that's also very much part of not only the creative process, but in general, as a human being, solitary serenity is so imperative and part of our evolutionary process.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm recalling our last conversation, not our last conversation because we've talked during quarantine, but face to face talking about how Ryan, my partner, and I were both experiencing a lot of anxiety at the time that quarantine was happening. And you were kind of telling us that the way that you grew up, you didn't know that like anxiety was something that a lot of people suffered from until you moved to the United States. So then I started wondering, like, is anxiety, you know, something that's more common in our country? Is it around the world? Like, is it based on how you grow up? And I'm so interested on your take on that. And maybe from there you can tell us a little bit about how you grew up and where you grew up.
Yeah. It is interesting. I think it's a mixture of culture to a point, because anxiety affects so many people all across the globe. So it's not just America necessarily. But I think a lot of it makes sense because of lifestyle. The more chaotic, the more demanding on all levels of one's person, you know, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, everythingly.
Yeah.
The more demanding a lifestyle, it just sucks you dry. So I can see why in many places in America in particular, even just LA, it's just such tunnel vision, and it's so go, 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 and everything's just like lightning fast, which is, you know, amazing if you want to get things done. But getting things done also means to take time and just slow down and actually get to see what you're moving past and get to revel in it if it's a success, whatever success means to you.
Yeah.
Happiness, even, you know, the downfalls or the hurt and the pain. There is goodness in everything, and there is a lesson in everything. It's all a matter of perspective, and, you know, depending how rough an experience is, it can be very difficult to see a lighter perspective, or light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. But to be forever an open, raw wound as much as possible is how I've always kind of perceived life. And whether that was maybe a mixture of my parents and what they taught me how to be, or my general environment, like externally from them, through the media or what I was interested in, through friends, teachings, you know, at school, or just out in the world. I've always kept a very open mind and tried to be as non-judgmental as possible. But also in terms of anxiety, I've felt anxious at times. We all do feel stressed in moments, and it, you know, hypes us up and delusions come into play, and then they become real because we made them real. Our brains are so powerful, and they can swing, you know, both ways in that sense, where they can be used as a tool for positivity and very powerfully good thinking, but they can also be, you know, very detrimental and used as a weapon in many ways.
Yeah.
Like self-sabotage, you know, that's a classic one. And self-doubt. So, but in Australia, everyone's pretty laid back for the most part. Anxiety is very much a thing everywhere, and it affects many people. But I think I just didn't have a lot of exposure to it. I didn't know anyone that suffered from anxiety. And in Perth, Western Australia, that's the city that I grew up and spent the most time living in. But yeah, I've never felt that, and maybe that's also genetically me as well.
Yeah.
You know, just not feeling, I don't know, I can relate to it in many ways, but I don't understand it because I haven't gone through it.
Yeah.
So I try my best to understand it from, as like someone who supports and is on the outside, because as soon as I moved to America, to LA, left, right and center, everyone's got anxiety. I'm like, oh my goodness, like these poor people, what's going on?
What's happening here?
Yeah. I was like, is this what the zombie apocalypse looks like? It's actually just anxiety, which is very real, and that might be a great novel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Well, so tell me a little bit about your journey in terms of before you got to LA. Like, how did you first know that you wanted to be a musician? Like, what was that like to pursue for you? And maybe either before or after that, like your coming out journey. Like, were you supported? Would your family support you when you said, like, I'm gay and I want to be a musician? Like, I think those are some things that in America a lot of people struggle with getting a lot of acceptance for. So I'm curious, even though that's like your true path and you're so lucky to be so passionate, like, but what was that like for you? What did that look like?
Coming out was nerve-wracking to my mum. She was the first. Actually, I never came out to my dad. It was an interesting one with my dad. But both my parents. I'm an only child. I do have a half brother who lives in England, but we're quite drastically different in age, and we didn't grow up together. So I was basically an only child, and it was just myself, my mum, and my dad. And both my parents have been extremely supportive through everything. Before it was music, it was sport. My dad was obsessed with it, and I don't even remember half the time, but he was the guy that was on the side of the bleachers being like, go on, like, do it, you could do it. Like, to the point where my mum would be like, I'm gonna sit over here.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know him.
She's like, but both of them really supportive in their own ways, and I honestly can't thank them enough for that. I'm just very appreciative and grateful. And that support, it was like carbon copied with my sexuality, with my passions. So coming out to my mum was in a grocery store. It was very funny. At the time, it was not funny
right,
for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is a big deal, you know, waking up, being like, today's the day, I'm finally going to tell her, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a story for another time, but that was actually, you know, at the end, it was just wonderful because she just looked at me and she said, no, I know, I knew since the day you were born that you were special and you were loved. So
I love your mom.
I know. She's just, oh, good old Jen.
We need to have her on the podcast as well.
Yeah, honestly, she's amazing. She steals all my friends because she's just wonderful.
Yeah.
But then with my sexuality as well, like my dad, he was just instantly supportive, and I didn't need to come out to him. He knew as well. I mean, you look at me, you know. you know. You're like, yes, that girl.
Oh, her.
Yep. I have an inkling. So, and then with music as well, that was something I stumbled into. I liked playing music just for fun. I like my real passion is writing. Ever since I can remember, writing short stories, writing poetry, novels, just for fun. I would buy like those 64-page books that you could get for school, you know, writing down notes.
Oh, yeah.
And I would buy them specifically just to be like, okay, from start to finish, let's write a novel.
Wow.
And that's what I would do.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is ambitious.
Yes, it is. But it was just fun for me because I'm also a massive gamer. I love gaming. I love watching sci-fi films and thrillers and just things that like take you out of this world. This world has given me so much, and I'm so grateful for it. And I hope to use all that I've been given to give back and use as tools of acceptance and safe space to be yourself, to be judgment free, to be cared for and loved instantly. Just warm, welcoming. I'm a protector and I'm a lover, and that to me is the most important, regardless of who someone is or where they come from.
Yeah.
So my life is wonderful, but there's still that feeling of escapism that I am obsessed with. I love it. I love being able to go somewhere and be someone I'm not, or perhaps someone I would aspire to be, given that scenario, or being dropped into that environment, and that be my life. So I just love those kind of role-playing games where you do missions, you do quests, you build experience, you do what you do in life. You have various skill sets and tools that you use, and you work on a myriad of them and become a better version of yourself. And that's what I aspire to do in life. So yeah. I think I went on a bit of a tangent that one.
It actually led perfectly into my next question for you. Is that like, okay, so, and I know you haven't shared this yet, but you kind of like stumbled into music. I remember you telling me, you were like, I didn't even know that like I would be a good musician. But I think what makes you, and I'd love for you to share that, but I think what makes you so cool is how different you are, is that you take those things, like you create experiences. I went to a show of yours that was in this like art, like it was like an experience, like it was like an art studio. I like came in ready to sit at the bar and like whatever.
No bar.
And I had to like
There
take my
was no bar,
shoes off. But it was like you created a whole experience with it, because that's such a part of you. So maybe a little bit about becoming a musician, but then did someone inspire you? Was that scary to sort of like lead you really are doing something very different that a lot of people aren't doing. So how did you build the confidence to really pursue that?
With music?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing at all. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. We're just kind of winging it. Confidence is key in many parts of just driving our passions and fueling our fire, and always stoking that fire, always fueling it, keeping it alive. For me, music is just how do I even describe it? It's just like I don't even really ever stop to think about it much, but I have quite an interesting relationship with music, because there are parts of it I really don't like, and then there are parts of it that I could never find that love anywhere else on the earth.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And it is such a weird kind of marriage. I'm stuck in a marriage, and I'm like, do I divorce you? Because at times I really want to. Or do we work this out? Or do we work this out to a point where I can maybe see other people, i.e. not just do music?
Yeah.
Can we have an open marriage? Like, what's going on?
Oh, okay, I see you.
That kind of thing. That also in no way relates to how I treat my actual relationships, just FYI.
Let's put that PSA out.
Yeah, but it is an interesting one, and music in so many ways is so creative and just like limitless, and I love behind the scenes. I love learning about production, learning about recording certain things, and treatments of vocals, and like kind of all, the nerdy stuff in many ways. I love numbers in that sense, and I love parameters and just like manipulating things and destroying to create something new. That's human nature at its core anyway. So to be able to, my latest fascination is giving synthetic sounds a very organic and raw, evocative voice, so that it evokes emotion that possibly a vocal or an organic instrument like acoustic guitar, piano, or strings never could. Like, give it more. power it up so it makes you cry instantly when you first hear it, or it brings a memory, you know, to mind from that you forgot, but it's actually there, and it's like a loving, serene moment maybe. So to be able to, it's like alchemy. It's modern day alchemy. That's what being an artist is. So, in any shape or form or media, yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. Where do you find your inspiration and creativity from somewhere, or do you think that just like comes from within you, or is there anyone or anything that inspires you most?
I think visuals. I'm very visually inspired, so that's why I watch a lot of films, why I play a lot of games, read a lot of books, and just kind of like even photos as well, or just going out into the world and seeing a moment, capturing it on my phone, or just capturing it with my eye. And like some things are more precious because they don't last, you know. So in a moment you could feel this fleeting feeling, and there's no way to look back on it other than remember that feeling, and that's sometimes all you need to spark inspiration.
Yeah. I love that. So then within this sort of music realm, but art realm and writing and really trying to find your voice and expand your journey, what do you do for self-care, and like what does that look like, and does that help you to, and I'm not talking about like watching a movie or maybe it's writing, but what do you do for self-care to help you like decompress and get clarity?
I journal every day.
Ah, nice.
Which is very helpful. And it's a stream of consciousness writing, which is wonderful. I'll go take photos. I am by no means a photographer or consider myself a photographer, but I enjoy going on walks and just slowing down to stop and literally smell a flower or take a photo of it, or, you know, just bend down if I see like a lizard and just like hang out and say hi and wish them a good day, you know, just like things that are like quite, it's like your inner child basically that I'm trying to maintain a very strong connection with, because the rest of the time I'm also trying to progress and move forward with my adult self. So I don't want to forget my other selves in that sense. I want us all to sit at the dining table together.
I love that. I don't think I've ever gotten that response, and I think a lot of us probably have experienced that more during quarantine, of for the first time kind of just slowing down. I know, like, I take walks in my neighborhood with my dog, and I'm like seeing, you know, flowers and houses every single time that I've never seen before, and it's really effective. And maybe it's like because it's a form of meditation, but it's incredibly powerful to bring yourself back to your childlike state, because you're right, like we have to be adults so much of the time, that it's just nice to take a moment to slow down. So I guess let's go into like what can we expect from Georgi Kay in the future? Like, what are your goals right now? What are you working towards? And if it's nothing, then that's okay too, you know, but I'm curious what's sort of on the agenda for you.
I have so much on my plate. I'm just such a serial manifester. So, and there is so much power in that too. You can get lost in dreaming, but if you dream and with intent, and you make the necessary steps towards it, and they're baby steps, you know, they're the most effective actually. It was one of your, just a quick side note, it was actually one of your podcast episodes I was listening to recently, talking about putting in the most work doesn't necessarily mean you progress forward in life. It's like working smarter rather than harder, or working more.
Yep.
So little bits go a long way. I'm currently working towards, music-wise, I have a remix for Gasoline that I'll be bringing out around late this month, June, which I'm very excited about. Potential music videos to follow those, which will be fun. That's
Cool.
behind the scenes, which I love. And then a new single, Medicine, the one I showed you in the car that time.
Yep.
That I'm working on. I'm producing that myself. Due to quarantine and also not wanting to be around too many people just yet, even in the studio. So I'm producing that for the first time myself, and I'm really excited. I've just been having so much fun doing that.
That's super cool.
Yes, I'm excited to bring that out maybe in July. Novels, I've got 3 on the go. I'm trying to focus on one. Yep. So, but I've been making progress, just little bits, baby steps. So I'm hoping to have that, a strong draft of that final draft by the end of this year.
Oh, that's exciting. I can't wait to read it.
I'm excited too. I'm really stoked to see what you think as well. I've been having a lot of fun. It's been in my head for literally 10 years, so I'm excited to get that one out.
Yeah.
And make space for more. So so lots of little projects. There's also this art sort of installation I've been working on. It's like graphics I've been creating that are very like hieroglyphic and sci-fi, that I then want to put out in the desert, do like paintings of them and everything. So that's all in the works, kind of not top priority at the moment, but it's there. And what else? I guess that's
Girl,
music
that's
and
a
creativity.
lot.
Yeah, I know, it's a lot. But I guess like also the main thing I've been really thinking about this year in particular is getting a house. I want to live here in LA, although what's been happening recently has scared me a little bit and shaken me. It's such a beautiful city. It's full of beautiful people that are very supportive and wonderful, and I've found my people here, my friends, out of everywhere, out of Australia where I grew up, out of the UK where I went back to live and where I was born. LA is where I've felt the most myself and most at home, ironically, so I don't want to leave that. It feels right. So I want a house. I want 4 chihuahuas.
Can you share their names with everybody?
Yeah, there's Napkin, who we know is the OG boy. He's my best boy. Mm-hmm. Yep. There's Napkin, Noodle, Petrie, and Poncho.
Yeah, I love the names. It's so good.
But yeah, so there's some, stuff about security and home, and I take great pride in my home and building a place that's safe. And then there's also just progressing with creative endeavors. And yeah, I think that's kind of it at the moment that I'm focusing on. So
a lot to look forward to in the world of Georgi Kay.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I love it. Well, cool. So I like to end, Georgi, with 2 final questions I like to ask all my guests. So the first is, and you mentioned journaling, so maybe that's what it is, but what are your morning and maybe in your evening routines look like?
Morning routine. For the morning, that's my most productive time. I think it is for a lot of people, but I like to harness that. I know you do too, so we can relate heavily on that front. I like to get up, do my morning pages, because I started doing The Artist Way by Julia Cameron.
Cool.
Very, very good book. Recommend it for everyone, anyone, especially during quarantine. It's a 12-week kind of exercise, so it's a perfect time to be doing it. So I do that. The morning pages is one of the requirements within the exercises. That's 3 pages of just stream of consciousness every morning as soon as you wake up. So I do that, and that's separate from journaling too, because I journal every day, so I'm like adding so much more writing to my day. I'll do that. I'll make a coffee. I love my Nespresso, and then I'll go through emails, just kind of do some regular housekeeping, and then go about my day. And then the evening, I'll probably either do a cheeky little bit of gaming, or I'll watch a TV show for a bit, and just decompress, and then I'll read myself to sleep away from my electronics. And that's it.
That's so important. I'm glad that you said that. I'm a big advocate of put that phone down, turn it over, because it can really, especially with social media right now. So for everyone listening, read before bed. So helpful. Okay, and my final question to you, my sweet friend, is what do you give the most damns about?
Honesty. Respect. Consideration. Kindness. Transparency, different from honesty. Love. And these are all for yourself, which I think first and foremost, empathy is another one too. Have that for yourself. Put your, the plane's going down, the masks come out, and you have to put your own mask on first. This is not selfishness. This is in order for you to be able to understand how it feels on both ends or all colors and shapes and forms, to then be able to be capable and able to help other people 100%. And put their mask on. Yes, so it's all of that within the self, and then so you can better understand others and help others and be present. So yeah, just kind of like virtuous knight morals and ethics, really. Just basic means of treating humans and ourselves.
Wow, that is a perfect note to end on, the perfect give a damn sentiment. Thank you, Georgie, just for all the light that you bring to this world, for being on the podcast, for sharing your journey with everyone, and just being a really wonderful friend in my life as well.
Thank you. I appreciate everything that you do, Alana, and I love you dearly, and thank you so much for having me on Give a Damn. I've been a supporter from day one, and I'm so excited for you and stoked to be on this episode.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Well, for more on Georgie, you can find her on, I'll tag her in this post on social media. But Georgie, do you want to just do like a quick, where can people find you? Where can they find your music? Quick plug.
Yeah, of course. Simplest, best place to go is my website, georgikay.com. And every link you need is there, basically. Cool. It'll just take you to wherever you need to go and wherever you want to go.
Perfect. That's great. Well, thank you again, my friend. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. Again, just keep a lookout on the Instagram page. We have a Twitter page. Follow Give a Damn there, as well as YouTube. So videos are now going up on YouTube. So we'll do a little video of this on YouTube. We're still working on a lot of kinks. So thanks for being patient with everything. And swag. So lots of cute hoodies and more swag coming out. If you're interested, until the website is up, you can just DM me and rep your community. But as always, just want to end with to give a damn about your community, give a damn about your neighbor, but most importantly, give a damn about your damn self. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.